Hello everyone. Wanted to spend some time reviewing the requirements for our DavCo project. This really is the crux or the main focus of our class this summer, and so I want you to understand what we're going to do with this. This is a new company that we're going to do the accounting for. We're going to record the startup and the operation of 2 years. Now, not only are we going to do a report about those 2 years, financial report, but that is also going to be the basis for our tax return that we're going to do later, and the owner's tax return. So we do an individual and a corporate tax return. And then we're also going to do a budget where we do an oral presentation of the budgets for the following years. So we're going to do the accounting for 2017, 2018, and then we're going to do the budgets for 2019 and 2020 as part of this project. So you're going to need to track all of the journal entries and things that happen. Now, I've summarized what would in the steps, what would typically be done in lots and lots of different journal entries in order to reduce the number of journal entries you need to make. So that's something that you should be aware of. Let's just bring up this, the description. So we start with the step one, which is startup, add assets, borrow monies, that sort of thing, get the stock in there, sign up, get our lease on the buildings, that sort of thing. Then we start doing the transactions. Now, of course, for instance, hired 3 new equipment operators does not record a transaction, and then like payroll, you can basically make one payroll journal entry for the entire 6 months rather than doing it every 2 weeks like would be normal. And that, again, that's to save us time. But you do have to do some calculations of the hours and how much it is and that sort of thing. Make sure you take care of the withholdings and the employee and employer taxes on that payroll, and then sales and other expenses, cost of goods sold, inventory, that sort of thing. So what we're going to do is need to enter each one of these into an accounting system. So you may have access to a computerized accounting system. If you do, then feel free to use that. I will take it in whatever format that it comes. But if you don't, I have 2 options. You can sign up and use QuickBooks Online, and the instructions on how to do that as an education process. A 1-year subscription is here. And if you don't want to use that, you can use what's called Wave Accounting, which is another free online accounting system. So that's the 2 options you can use if you don't have something already. Now, what we want you to do is do this kind of in steps so that we can check ourselves, and I will provide some check figures as we move along. At the end, our assignment is to provide a compilation report. The compilation report has a very specified format given by the AICPA, which you can find at these links to understand what it is and what it should look like. It should be changed to meet our company and the dates. This report should be for 2 years, 2017 and 2018. There should be one report, cover sheet, if you will, for the 2 years. There will be, you do not need to do the footnotes, but you do need to do your best shot at a cash flow statement as well as the income statement and the balance sheet and the statement of changes in equity, which should be very simple. There will be no statement of comprehensive income. As you learned in intermediate, there will be no elements of comprehensive income. So as we start with the journal entries, I'm going to ask you to turn in the first two sets of journal entries. You can export them from your accounting software using Excel or PDF. It doesn't matter. You're looking for something like the general ledger or the general journal, which will show the journal entries you've made in the system. And upload that so that I can see how you're doing. I'll give you 10 points for doing that, and it's more about me being able to comment and make sure you're on the right track than it is getting it exactly right. I will point out if there's anything that you seem to be missing or elements that where you seem to be a ways off. And we'll do that for the first two steps, and then I will provide kind of what it would look like for the financial statements after step 3 at the end of 2017. Then I'm going to let you work through the other ones on your own. Now, of course, you can ask questions and should ask questions. That's the whole idea on this on the discussion board. Now, besides the DavCo journal entries, you're also the memos that have a different module refer, in most cases, to the process we're going through with DavCo. So our first memo is talking about what decisions you may need to make as you do the setup. So as you decide what your chart of accounts should look like, what accounts to use, whether to record things as assets or as expenses, as you decide how to record the loan, those are the things that we're talking about in those decisions. And you're going to write a memo to the owner of DavCo about why, as the accountant, you made those particular decisions in terms of recording those things. So it's not just a matter of making journal entries, but also thinking about why you made them the way you did, especially if there was anything complicated or that required you to think through and make a choice between. Some are really straightforward, others are going to require more thought, and that's the ones you're going to want to comment on in your memo. So that's why DavCo becomes really the centerpiece of our whole semester, because we're writing memos about it, we're doing journal entries, we're doing a report that's going to have to be presented in a professional way. You're going to need to use your accounting software. You're going to need to probably utilize your Excel to make that report look nice and the financial statements look nice. You're going to then, all of those pieces, as well as the tax return and ultimately the budgets, are going to require you to have an understanding of this DavCo information. So we try to make it as realistic as possible without overwhelming you with a huge amount of detail. So that's what I wanted you to understand here. And again, have questions, let me know.